Aloha everyone, this is Leimomi Keliikuli Intuitive Soul Alignment Mindset Coach here, and I'm here with Riley McCoy. I'm so excited to talk with you because we've been kind of chatting on and off, right, on being Facebook friends, and you're sharing your story and your message, and so this is a really good chance for us to share more about you. So tell us more about who you are, what you do. How did you become a master genius at what you do now?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. So, I am Riley Rain, for those of you who have not met me yet, and I am a spiritual teacher, leader, and a mentor. And the foundation of my work is that I help you to reset your mindset, energy, and belief back to your truth so that you can live the empowered life that you want to. And it's beautiful work, it's super exciting, and yeah, I'm really excited to be here and to be having this conversation.
Well, yeah, thank you for sharing about that because I think it's so important to do mindset to share your message in the world and teaching that you're teaching them spiritual principles, right, on how they could use that in their life and their business.
Yeah, it's super rewarding and it's super important work because it is so much the foundation of our lives, spirituality and the energy of how we choose to live our lives and how we choose to show up. So it's very, very awesome.
So tell me more about like what it was like growing up, like when you were growing up as a child, like what lit you up, like how does that play into what you do now?
Yeah, I've actually never been asked that. I love that question. So, as a child, the things that lit me up most when I was in school, for the bit of time that I was in school, I loved science and art. And I loved the expression of creativity and the magic that came through with that. And interestingly enough, I now consider myself an artist above all other things. And while I'm not creating physical works of art anymore, my life is my art. My life is my masterpiece. And I grew up in a very spiritually open and explorative household. My mom got her first transcendental meditation mantra when she was like 7, and she had a walking mantra. And so I have always had space to, play with the universe and my spirituality and explore what that looks like and feels like. And so I'm very grateful to have had this space to really play and really explore what I felt was powerful and what I wanted to do with my life. And so now I'm able to be here, and being a mentor and being a leader in this space is so, so amazing.
That's awesome. I mean, like a lot of people do not grow up in that situation where your parents and your family were very supportive of your spiritual journey.
Yeah.
I'm sure it makes you even more stronger in what you do because you have a
Yeah.
very like supportive background growing up in that way. So
Yeah.
tell us more, like maybe like a vulnerable story of your life or your business. Like, what did it feel like when you were not in alignment, right? Let's like when you felt
Yeah.
misaligned. Like, how did you get back into alignment? Like, how do you know when you are and when you're not?
Yeah. So I think the biggest experience that I've had of not being in alignment, which I actually don't talk about a lot, so I'm excited to share a little bit more about this, is when I was a little bit younger, when I was a teenager, I was in a garage band. And I am a very much make it happen kind of girl. Like, once I'm passionate about something, it's happening and we're bringing it to life. And so in this garage band, I was like, okay, this is our thing for life. Like, we're going to be musicians. We're going to inspire people with music. We're going to book the gigs. I'm going to make it all work. And then one of our band members moved away, and then I moved away. And being able to like have that space after moving away, I realized, wow, that was not aligned. Like, if we had stayed in that space of being musicians and creating music, while we could have put out beautiful art, we probably would have been really sacrificing ourselves and our health and our mental states. And a lot of that was really, really toxic. So once we moved states, I was able to have mental space, and I really took like 2 years to explore and kind of rediscover myself and my spirituality and who I wanted to be. And it took a long time, but I gave myself the grace and the gentleness to just be really soft with it. And I think that's important when you're trying to find out how to get back into alignment, is to just allow yourself to explore and not to feel like you have to find the answers right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, who would have thought, right? Like joining a band and creating that could be so misaligning for you.
Yeah. It was eye-opening for sure.
Hmm. So do you think it was just the outlet, the way that you were being creative was what was misaligning, or was it just because it just, you know, your true heart was somewhere else?
Yeah, I think it was a mixture of both, really. The outlet and the environment was not healthy, and I think there was a part of me that was like, no, you need to be speaking, you need to be doing this thing on your own, and kind of learning and growing on your own in this different kind of way. Um, when I was younger, I have this memory of sitting next to my dad watching Wayne Dyer, and I remember sitting there and thinking like very ego-based thoughts, like, who is this guy? What is he talking about? And then deeper, there was a part of me that was like, I could do that. And this is like my 8-year-old self, right? So I think that part of me was something that really needed to be given the space to come through. And it since has, which is super cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, at 8 years old, or that 8-year-old mind, that's really
Yeah.
awesome that you could actually really explore that and,
Yeah.
you know, open yourself up to that kind of different way of thinking, right? Because I
Yeah.
don't think we have that awareness or even have that even
Yeah.
around us. And then that made you kind of like form into what you're doing now, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it took about probably 10 years for me to remember that feeling and rekindle that fire and that passion of, oh, I want to like speak and I want to be able to inspire people. And I also want to really be of service and really bring light into the world. So it took a long time for me to realize and to put into practice and to really embody. But now that I am in that space, I'm so grateful that things happened the way that they did, because I mean, the space I'm in now is so fulfilling and so rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So maybe you could share with us, you know, like kind of run us into like what you do when you work with someone, like when they
Yeah.
first meet you, or any kind of like principles or things that are the typical things that you want to share with your clients.
Yeah. So the foundation of my work is getting into the energy of things. So a lot of people come to me for emotional work and emotional healing, and some people even come to me for business work and really helping to learn how to clarify their business and really get into the feeling of what they want to create in their business. Um, so the way that I start out with everyone is just by asking them what they're struggling with right now, what they feel stuck with, and we kind of dive into that and dive into what that feels like and looks like, and we move on from there and find any way to shift and clear anything that needs to be shifted or cleared, and then you get to grow from there. And it's a really, really beautiful and fluid and expansive process.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
like that. That's the approach is more like, okay, here's where you are. Where do you want to
Yeah.
go? Is it like that direction, this direction, and like
Yeah.
feeling into the energy of it, which I think a lot of people don't really get the chance to like sit in the energy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which it seems like you hold the space for them to like take those steps.
Yeah. I think that's my biggest role, is holding space, because we already know all of the answers, right? It's just about having somebody to almost like give us permission to step into that. That's important. And I'm so grateful and honored to be able to do that for people.
Hmm. Sounds like you kind of like add the mindset of getting there with
Yeah.
also the business strategy, what kind of like makes sense in the direction that the person wants to go.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of personal healing that comes up along the way. I mean, my mentorship is also very intuitive. So there are no PDFs that you have to like work on. There's no worksheets for you. It's very much just, where are you at right now, and how can we get you to grow forward and flourish in the way that you want to. And I think that's the most empowering thing.
Hmm. Like doing it from that perspective, like letting it flow.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you know, when it gets really hard, like when you feel like kind of giving up, like what keeps you going?
Ah, um, reconnecting to myself and my truth. There is a very deeply rooted part of me that knows that I was made for this. And I'm so grateful to have that knowing, because if I didn't, I don't know if I would still be on this path, because it's not easy, you know. It's There's hard days being an entrepreneur. There's hard days just in growth in general. Like some days you don't want to look at your own negativity and move through that. So I know that every time I'm having a rough moment, every time I'm like in the bathroom and crying, there's a moment that happens where I'm like, wait a minute, I was made for this. This is safe for me to move through, and I can go through this experience and have some kind of blessing or lesson or light from this experience. It doesn't have to just be painful or traumatic. So knowing that and remembering that is the most helpful and empowering thing for me.
I love that. It's just taking that step back and really looking from within.
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you define success? Like, of course, what kind of pain did you go through and you endured? Like, why do you believe success is this now for you?
Yeah, so I believe that success is something that's very individual, just like any life experience, right? And so we can define success for ourselves. And to boil it down, I think success for everyone is just being fulfilled. When you find something that you love doing and you feel really honored to do it, and you get paid whatever you want to get paid to do it, and you feel that joy and that peace and that groundedness in your vision and in your joy. I think that is what success kind of becomes for everyone, but it's very individual. And I think it boils down to being fulfilled and knowing that you are happy either way.
I love that definition. It's really about, like, again, coming from within, right? Like
Yeah,
what
yeah,
fulfills you, what makes you happy. um
yeah,
I think we always get stuck with like everything that we gotta do, and step by
yeah,
step this and that, and but in reality, is like, is that making you happy or not, is the real question you should be asking.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Hmm. So what advice you would give someone, who really wants to get in your genius as you have? Like, what helped you to decide that, you're going to step into your leadership, create a soul line business,
Yeah.
be an expert in your industry? Like, what advice you would give to someone who's just kind of starting it out?
Yeah, I have a few things that come up immediately. The first is to know that what you think you're really gifted at, what you think you can really share with the world in a positive and radiant way, is what you can share in a positive and radiant way. I know that so many entrepreneurs, especially spiritual entrepreneurs, feel like, oh, I have this gift that I want to share, but I don't know that I can sell it, or I don't know that I am worthy of charging for it. And I don't know that it's good enough, because there's so many other intuitive entrepreneurs out there, intuitive business coaches, intuitive, people in general. And so the first thing that I would say is know that your gifts are your gifts and they're meant to be shared. And the second piece of advice I have is to trust yourself. That was a big lesson that I had to learn, was like, okay, I can't just, do this and pretend my way into it. I've got to really radically trust myself and trust my intuition and trust my decisions. And that has been the most liberating and wildly successful thing that I've learned and put into practice. So I think to know that your gifts are meant to be shared and to trust yourself and trust your process is really, really important.
Hmm. I like
Yeah.
how you like really make them go through the flow, which
Yeah.
is trusting the process,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
allowing things to unfold the way it should,
Yeah.
um, and like coming from within what makes sense for your type
Exactly.
of soul.
Exactly. Yeah.
Any other like big advice, that has come up, recently for you or for your clients that you've noticed, like even in the industry
Yeah.
that you work in, like what kind of things would really benefit everybody to hear that kind of like advice?
Yeah, definitely. I think, and this kind of reiterates like knowing that your gift is meant to be shared. I think that it's so, so, so important and so valuable, and not conceited or selfish at all, to acknowledge that what you feel called to share, what your heart is like aching for you to share with the world, needs to be shared through you. So from my own personal experience, I know that I've had, limiting beliefs of I don't have enough Instagram followers. I don't have enough reach to share these messages. Or, Gabby Bernstein is doing what I'm doing. And if she's doing it, do I really need to be doing it? But the people who are following me because they want to hear what I have to say. And the things that I have to share because they need to be shared through me. Somebody needs to hear something through me. And so while that's my own personal experience, to be able to apply that to your own life and say, okay, this is what I have to share, and somebody probably needs to hear it from me and not Gabby Bernstein or Danielle Laporte or Marie Forleo. And just acknowledging like your voice is really important and really powerful. And if you're feeling called to share something, whether it's your gift or a message or whatever, it's meant to be shared.
Yeah, that's really important to come from that space.
Yeah.
I think we kind of get stuck with like, what is the content I'm supposed to make, right? Or how am I supposed to post this thing? What picture am I supposed to put up? Or like all of these like details, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like, hey, like what does my heart really want to talk about?
Yeah.
My true voice, my opinion, rather than all the little details.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And like your true voice and what actually wants to come through you is what your audience is really going to need to hear from you too. Not only is there someone out there that wants to hear something from you, there are certain messages that your audience needs to hear from you. And that energy of, okay, let me not just make content to make content, but let me really feel out what I want to share, what's on my heart right now. That's going to be felt by your audience, and that's going to get you more engagement. And that energy can also be a strategy, which is really, really cool.
Right. And that is the energy of the strategy that needs to come through.
Yeah.
So how can everyone, get in contact with you, your social media or website, or you have a freebie for us?
Yeah, so I am a very simple girl. You can just friend me on Facebook and send me a message. I do have a website. It's under construction right now, but maybe if you go and look at it, it's rileyrain.co. So if you feel called to go there, maybe it'll be up when you are searching it. But other than that, just send me a friend request on Facebook. _ Riley Rain is my Instagram. You can follow me there. Send me a message there as well. And yes, let's do a freebie. I have a guided meditation that is coming up very, very soon. I think I'm going to be sharing it tomorrow, so I can post the link to that for you guys. And it will be a grounding and light meditation, which is very powerful for your energy and recentering, and also raising your vibration so that you can share your magical work with the world.
Sounds magical. Get on the meditation, listen to our meditation. Sounds so awesome. So thank you for taking the time to talk with my audience. I'm sure like anybody who's really looking for that flow and that, like coming from within is really, I think, would be a really good fit for you. So thank you for spending this time with us, and for all the listeners that are listening in right now and seeing the replay and everything. We're going to continue doing this LeimomiTV interview series, and I'm going to share more 6-7 figure entrepreneurs and people who are doing amazing work in all kinds of different industries. Stay tuned for more episodes. Until next time, have a beautiful day. Aloha.
Thank you for having me.